Hey, what's going on? Charles Austin here, and let's be fit forever. Wonderful Saturday afternoon. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about why you and your mom, your dad, and your brother, your sister, your cousin, your best friend, your husband, your wife, everybody should be doing yoga. All right? I'm sure you've heard of yoga. I'm sure you've heard of yoga studios and yogis and yoga pants. Um, but what is yoga? Why should you be doing it? What's the point? We're going to talk about that a little bit today, and as always, followed by a health and fitness Q&A. But before we jump into today's video, as always, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, make sure you turn those notifications on so that you're always up to date with the latest content here on the channel, so that you never miss out on any of the exciting and informative and amazing videos that I stream every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time, and also on Saturdays, like it is today, at 1 p.m. Central Time as well. But as always, what I like to do is I like to dive right on in right after that intro to make sure that we're not wasting any time, because time is precious. So let's go ahead and jump in for today. So I kind of wanted to start out a little bit with what you kind of yoga, what it is, and kind of a little bit of its history. All right. So if you look here, yoga is really kind of this spiritual discipline which is mixed in with science, right? And the main thing is it's about bringing harmony, as it says here, between your mind and body, right? So obviously, if we're talking about the word harmony, right, we're talking about a beneficial relationship between two things, right? We're talking about things that are not combative with each other, right? You want your mind and your body working together, right? So as it goes on, the word yoga, right, is derived from the meaning to join, right? To yoke or even to unite. So again, we're trying to unite. We're trying to join our mind and body in harmony, right? We want to put those things together in harmony, okay? So again, something that was really interesting to me when I was doing a little of my background research was the fact that, the ultimate goal of yoga is to lead to a union between individual consciousness. Of course, we're talking about knowledge of self, like our own consciousness of who we are as an individual, as each individual person, right? But we want to unite our individual consciousness with universal consciousness, right? So now we're talking about the cosmos. We're talking about nature, right? So we want to make sure we have a perfect harmony between our mind, our body, and nature, and even our brothers and sisters that are around us. So as it says here, mind, body, man, nature. Something that obviously is lacking in today's society. There is no harmony between our mind, our body, our man, and our nature. Humans are very destructive. So maybe we should start doing a little bit more yoga, right? So according to scientists, right, everything, right? Emphasis on the word everything, right? Everything in the universe, whether it's your cell phone, whether it's the TV, whether it's the screen you're watching me on now, whether it's the food you eat, the car you drive, whatever, everything in the universe is just a manifestation of the same quantum firmament. So basically what we're talking about here is just saying that the stuff that we have, that space dust, right? The stuff that's makes up the sun and the planets and the stars and all that stuff, it's all the same stuff, all right? And it's just a manifestation somehow in different makeups, right? So one who experiences the oneness of existence is said to be in yoga, right? So once you kind of come to this realization, right, that it's important, it's necessary, it's healthy to be in harmony with your neighbor. To be in harmony with nature, all right, to be in harmony with the cosmos, right? It's said that you are in yoga, right? Cool, love that. All right. So a little bit, I want to pause on the history and origin, but I did want to kind of just give you a little background of why this is actually something that's taken so seriously, right? One of the worst things you can do, and this has happened to me before. One of the worst things you can do is walk into a yoga class and interrupt, because it's all about stillness and calmness and be trying to find that oneness. And distractions are one of the easiest ways to interrupt that. So you want to make sure you never do that, right? But let's start off with some of the benefits here, real quick, on the actual benefits to your mental health, right? So one of the things that yoga is good for is, sharpening your brain, making your brain a little bit better at doing what it is that it does, right? So if you think about it, right, lifting weights, jogging, things like that. Lifting weights are good for your muscles, makes them stronger. Cardio exercise helps with your heart and lungs, etc. But when you're doing yoga, you're doing things like doing brain cell development, allowing them to develop new connections. And then there are certain changes that will happen inside of your brain, which will result in improved cognitive skills. And those cognitive skills include things like learning and memory. And we all know that learning and memory are two of the most important functions of your brain. Obviously, there's a plethora of things that your brain has to do. But things that we're conscious of, learning new tasks is one of the ways to keep your brain active and healthy throughout life. And obviously memory, we want to make sure that we're hanging on to certain memories and able to remember certain tasks and functions as we age, right? So yoga strengthens parts of the brain that play a key role in memory, attention, awareness, thought, language, right? So think about all of those things. Let's break each one of those down real quick. We already talked about memory, but think about attention, right? Our ability to stay focused on things that are right in front of us. These are important for everyday tasks like driving from point A to point B, right? Or just, if you're a student doing homework or anything like that, right? Awareness. Think about being aware of your surroundings, right? Maybe being more aware to possible danger, right? Again, things like, operating a car, things like that. These are all things that are awareness are important for. Thought, obviously being able to have cognitive thought, having discussions and conversations at a deeper level, right? And then language, being able to enunciate and pronunciate words and communicate things and thoughts. All of these are all important parts of everyday life, right? So also, we're talking about improved mood, okay? So as we know, and if you've seen any video on any type of exercise topic, keep in mind that all exercise is going to boost your mood, right? It's going to lower stress hormones, and it's going to increase the production of these feel-good chemicals that we call endorphins, right? We've talked about those before, all right? And the reason why exercise is so good for your body and your mood is because of that increased oxygen flow to your brain, right? That blood and oxygen to your brain, awesome, right? But there's other additional benefits for yoga, all right? So we're talking about specific chemicals. We got one called, I'm not going to try to say this full one right here, all right? But it's called GABA, which is associated with better mood and decreased anxiety, right? So if you're somebody who you're aware that you suffer from anxiety, or you get anxious, or you're worried a little bit too much, yoga might be something that you might want to start doing to increase the circulation of this chemical GABA, which can help decrease anxiety, right? Okay, so plenty of benefits. Let's continue with the mental benefits, right? So we're going to do a quick little list here, right? So one of the other things that yoga does is it helps activate your parasympathetic nervous system, right? So many people have always heard about the fight or flight response, right? Like if you're walking down the street and like this big dog jumps out at you, you're immediately frightened and you have to either run or fight, your fight or flight response, right? Well, that's your sympathetic nervous system, right? Your parasympathetic nervous system is the opposite. It's kind of the system that deals with relaxation, calmness, basic low energy task, right? So this is kind of called the rest and digest part of your body, because it's just kind of bringing you down, keeping you easy, right? So we want to make sure that we're boosting this if we're trying to reduce anxiety, improve our mood, right? Overall intelligence, right? We've already talked about this chemical here, okay? Increased happiness, right? again, there's the same chemical that keeps popping up to help reduce anxiety. One of the biggest problems in society today is anxiousness and anxiety, right? So we got to find natural ways that we can reduce this so that we can feel better throughout the day, right? Pain reduction, right? We'll get into this a little bit more when we do the physical benefits, okay? Increased self-awareness. Now, we just talked about the entire origin and the point of yoga, right? And one of those things is just to kind of figure out and think about your own self, knowledge of self, right? I do a lot of yoga myself, and one of the things that's common with whichever instructor that you're dealing with is there's always that time where you have to take deep breaths and just kind of keep yourself in the moment. All right, figuring out all the parts of your body, your own mental awareness. There's always that part where you're just taking these deep breaths. You're not doing a lot of motion, and you're just staying in the moment, right? So as it says here, both the hippocampus and your somatosensory cortex, and as it says there, these are just the parts of the brain that deal with anxiety and awareness. These actually grow in size, right? So now you're being more aware of your body awareness. Now you're more able to moderate anxiety just because these parts of your brain are actually growing, right? Processing information. Again, other physical changes includes increased cortical folding in the brain. And now we're just talking about increasing the efficiency of your brain. It's kind of like if you had a computer and you had a processor with 3 pathways, right? Well, that can only do so much. Well, if you have a computer processor with 5 pathways, now you can do a little bit more. So now we're talking about processing information, making your brain a little bit sharper, right? So many benefits. One of the things I think, if you didn't take anything away from all of that information, think about the anxiety reduction. Super important for everyday life, getting a little bit easier, right? So what about physical benefits, real quick? Okay, so back pain. If you're like most people in modern society, you have some type of job where you're in front of a computer or you're sitting the vast majority or a lot of the workday, right? And back pain is something that just keeps going up and up and up. It's getting more and more and more common, right? So as it says here, back pain is one of the most common health problems in the United States and other countries as well, right? And as it says, specific stats to what I was just talking about, 4 out of 5 Americans will suffer from it at some point. Now, sometimes back pain can just come from an injury, but a lot of times it's coming from work, right? And your everyday habits. We're getting more and more sedentary. That means we sit at work and then we come home and we sit in front of the TV all day too. All bad things for your lower back, right? So, here it is. Yeah. So, there was a study done where it found strong evidence for the short-term effectiveness and moderate evidence for long-term effectiveness of yoga for chronic low back pain. What they're talking about here is if you're somebody who suffers from low back pain, start doing yoga, right? When you translate these things, I always wonder why they write sentences this way, right? A 2013 meta-analysis of 10 randomized controlled trials found strong. Just get to the point, right? But they're basically saying that yoga is healthy for somebody with low back pain. And then if you think about it also, we're talking about prevention now too. So if you're somebody who doesn't have low back pain, you can do yoga to help make it less likely that you'll actually suffer from back pain. So as it says here, doctors are actually urging patients to actually do yoga for long-term pain, dealing with their lower back, right? Okay. Less arthritis pain, right? So again, exercise, any exercise. Okay. Again, if you after watching this video, if you say I don't care what you say, Charles, I'm still going to not do yoga. Fine. That's totally your choice. I wouldn't recommend it, but totally your choice. Exercise, no matter what it is, has always been shown to help alleviate pain and stiffness and arthritis and stuff like that, right? But these symptoms can make it difficult to be active in the first place. So if you already know that you have arthritis, or in some of those cases may be more severe than others, you may not be able to be active because it's uncomfortable. It can be painful. So the good thing about yoga is it offers a gentle form of exercise that helps improve range of motion and strengthen muscles around painful joints. So for those who thinks that if you've never tried yoga, if you think yoga is just this thing where you stretch for a few minutes, it's not it, right? So there is lots of strength building. There is a lot of difficult positions and range of motion challenges, which is good for the overall health of your muscles and joints, right? So as it says here in this study, a 2014 study of 36 women with knee osteoarthritis, right? Those who did yoga experienced significant improvements in their symptoms compared with women who didn't do yoga. All right. So they were just talking about here as it goes on, the length of the class, et cetera, et cetera. So again, long story short, do yoga, less knee arthritis. Okay. So let's go here again with a quick little list before we wrap up of some of the benefits of yoga physically, right? So obviously your strength, your balance, and flexibility. Okay, so obviously strength, we're talking about your ability, the strength of your muscles, balance and coordination, obviously, and then the flexibility, your ability to elongate your muscles and joints, right? We talked about back pain already. Okay, we talked about arthritis already. All right, heart health, right? So regular yoga practice may reduce levels of stress and your whole body-wide inflammation, right? Inflammation is one of those things. I have actually done a video on inflammation, so feel free to check that out. But inflammation is one of those things that causes damage throughout your body. So anything you can do to reduce inflammation is going to be a good thing, right? We're talking about relaxation, getting that anxiety out, helps you sleep better, right? So consistent bedtime yoga routine can help you get in the right mindset. Again, this is about reducing that anxiety, getting your mind clear, and having clarity and focus so that you can reduce anxiety and have better sleep, right? More energy, okay? Manage stress. We've talked about that already, all right? And again, also better self-care. This is about we talked about learning more body awareness as you're practicing yoga. So many mental and physical benefits to starting a yoga practice, right? So let's go ahead and wrap up. For those who may be wondering, like, how do I even start a yoga practice, right? So if you've never done yoga, or maybe you did it once and it's something that's, you've forgotten, or, it's new to you, whatever the situation may be, right? Where is it at? Yeah. So if you're a beginner, right? If you're, as it says here, if you're out of shape, if you're brand new, if you're inflexible, et cetera, start with a gentle practice, right? There's different types of yoga, all right? They're not all the same. So there's different types. You're going to want to start with something that's for beginners, right? Where your moves are gentle. The flexibility challenges are lower, right? As it says here, once you are familiar with basic postures, then you can explore vinyasa or flow. Personally, my favorite is vinyasa. That's the kind that I do. I'll mix in some other types here and there, hatha yoga, etc., right? But I love vinyasa. That's my favorite, okay? So again, as you start with something basic. And then as you continue to get more comfortable, then you can try different types, more challenging types of yoga, right? But as it says here, the best way to know if yoga is for you is to give it a try. So you're not going to know by watching a video. You're not going to know by looking at this video here. You actually have to give it a try yourself, right? So how do you actually do yoga? How is it actually practiced? Well, it's typically performed on your bare feet, right? On a sticky yoga mat. Sometimes you can have props like blocks. There's different little belts and things, but as you get into it, you'll start learning about that. And yoga movements and poses require clothes that can stretch and move easily. So you shouldn't do this in jeans, right? Make sure you have proper attire, right? If you're doing your first yoga practice, we recommend that you start with a short and straightforward yoga session and slowly build up from there, right? So again, Start off with something that's simple, maybe a 20 to 30-minute class where the moves are simple, they're easy to follow, and there's not a lot of challenge, right? Now, once you get started, how often should you do it? Well, this depends on the person, obviously, and your overall health and fitness goals, right? But if you can try it 3 more times a week, you're going to see significant improvements in your flexibility. For me right now, I'm kind of about a 2 time a weeker, and you do immediately. Like once I started practicing yoga regularly, one of the things I noticed was my hip flexibility. My hip flexibility started to improve within the first couple of weeks, and it was amazing. So that's one of the reasons why I keep doing it, because I want great hip flexibility, right? And that's just one of my goals, right? One of the reasons why I do yoga, right? As they talk about the time period, 20 to 45 minutes. I'm thinking about doing a 45-minute one as soon as I get off this video today, right? So we talked about the benefits, right? So a couple of more tips real quick before we wrap up. For new folks, make sure that you're thinking about learning how to breathe. Start practicing those things. You can do these just simply sitting at your desk. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. It's something that takes focus. It's not easy, especially when you're in difficult positions and the instructor is telling you to take these breaths and you're like, I just want to plop down on the floor. So one of the things you'll have to focus on is actually learning how to breathe. Again, start with brief meditation and intention, all right? So as it says here, sit in an easy pose or an accomplished pose, depending on the person, and take a few minutes to ground. We're just talking about figuring out why you're doing yoga, okay? So like I told you before, lots of times there's always time to kind of focus on the reason why. I made a Facebook post the other day about if you don't have a why behind a exercising, then you're just spinning your wheels, basically, right? So everything that you do has to be intention. You have to have a why. Again, basic and beginning level postures. We talked about that already. And then also, it's cool to end with the Shavasana, right? This is basically the relaxation pose, okay? So at the end, different instructors have, different ways of bringing you to this spot. But the point is, it's just a time for you to kind of just get your mind clear your mind, and just focus on your breathing, focus on calming your body. And it just feels great, especially after a sweaty session of yoga, all right? Whew, awesome. So let's see if we got any Q&A. Done for the day. I will do my regular phone check here. Quiet Saturday. Oh, this is funny though. This is not this is not a question. But I, like I said, I check my phone sometimes because people will send me a message. I don't know if they're watching the video and they don't want to comment on whatever. And sometimes I'll check my Facebook, but I'm looking at a friend of mine's Facebook post and they said, I just had a whole vegan meal and I'm still hungry. And I'm trying to figure out what they eat, right? But just on that note real quick, I eat vegan meals all the time because my nutrition practice is to be vegan. So everything I eat is just plants, right? And when I decide to get full, it's easy to get full, folks. So that's a myth. But we'll do another video on that. But since we don't have any Q&A today, I will tell y'all to make sure you remember that we do these streams every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time and every Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time. Different health and fitness topics. We talk about nutrition. We talk about disease. As you see, we do how-tos. As you see today, we're talking about the benefits of yoga. So many different topics here. We always end with the Q&A, so you can ask me anything that you may have been struggling with or had a question about related to your own health and fitness journey. Now, with all that said, make sure you're also following me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fitness Charles. Easy, FitnessCharles, Fitness Charles, right? And you will be seeing information come out either probably Monday. Probably Monday you'll see some information come out regarding entering the raffle to win a spot in my Fit Forever family, which is a 12-week transformation experience designed to help you transform your body and teach you everything you need to know of how to be fit forever. The reason why I say fit forever is because I am not about quick fixes. I'm about teaching lifestyle skills that you can learn and keep forever to continue to keep your overall health and longevity. So we'll have some information coming up about that probably on Monday. So look out for that so you can figure out how you can get into the raffle for your chance to win. All right. So again, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn those notifications on so you're always up to date with the latest content. I will see y'all. Monday's a holiday.